You just pull it back. Yeah. You're done?
Actually, it's over there.
Oh, even further. Wow. Why is that?
Wow. We just wanted to show. Okay.
Alright, let's get started.
Well, I had asked Frank about, the comic book obviously has a very long arc to it, and there's a lot of things that the show probably won't be able to get to that you cover in the comics. What are the things that you absolutely feel like that the show has to get to, like some of the set pieces or just those milestones from the comics that you want to see the show eventually get to?
I think there are still essential characters and essential storylines, and I think everyone would agree that should and need to be in the show. I know that Michonne needs to be added in the show eventually. We all want to see Tyrese work in. We all want to see the prison. We definitely want to see Woodbury and the governor. And that's really the short list right now. There's other stuff past that I would like to see in, but I'm trying to make sure that we get there first. But those key things right there are definitely elements that we're going to try to eventually work into the show. Herschel's Farm was one of those, and that's what we're getting into in the second season. So, anybody else? We done?
Are you going to write another episode?
Yeah, I'm writing the second episode this season. And I've been in the writer's room full time, so I've been in there with Frank and the writers, pitching ideas and shooting stuff down, and there's bits and pieces of me in every episode.
When do you guys wrap the current season?
I don't know what to say. It's something like early November, I think, is when the shooting starts. You just said it. I don't care.
Steve, you've worked with a lot with Andrew in season 1. Who do you get to work with a lot in season 2? Does your relationship change? Do you start hanging out with different people? What's the dynamic of your growth?
I feel like that would give a lot away, which I can't do. But you know what? This has always been an ensemble show, and it continues to be. And we mostly have days where we work all together, and those are the days that I think all of us kind of cherish.
Yeah, those are the best days.
Those are the best days that we all get to work together. When I worked with Andy for that second episode, that was kind of an isolated thing, and it was awesome. It was absolutely amazing. But after that, it was all of us coming together, and I think that's the power of the show. Is every single car doing its work and making an awesome machine. So.
It feels like we're strongest when the tribe is together.
Yes.
It feels like a tribe, and working together, you can feel the strength of that. And it's wonderful.
I personally don't like any of the actors.
Can you guys talk about filming that epic highway scene?
Please do. Spoil it all.
Man.
No, there's very little that we can discuss specifically. It was hot. It was hot. There was shade under the cars, so I hear a lot of actors say it was actually pretty nice during those scenes to be under the cars in the shade.
Well, it's a noticeable epic. Clearly, from the trailer, you know it's an epic highway scene. It was awesome. I mean, I was saying earlier, like, we walked on, and that was our first day. And you walk on, you're like, oh my goodness, I forgot. This is the show. It was huge. It was amazing.
Greg Melton, our set designer, did an amazing job staging all that stuff. It's just, it really is a testament to this show, the production value that Frank was able to pull in with all of his contacts in Hollywood, and to be able to do a show that does things at that level. I mean, you guys haven't seen anything from that trailer. Like, there's a lot of cool stuff going on there.
Were you on set to see the highway scene?
Here and there. It's hot in Atlanta. So.
Since you can't talk specifics, can you say maybe what you would think would be an overarching theme of season 2?
Oh wow!
Sorry.
The overarching theme of the show really is survival, and so that's really I'd say that's really it. But there's a really large family aspect to this. We're going to see Herschel and Maggie being a family. We're going to see the group of survivors becoming a family, and just watching. And there's Rick, Lori, and Carl, and Carol and Sophia, and it's all these different families that from a larger family dealing with this horrible situation together. So.
Now the cast got whittled down a little bit in season 1. Can we look to to maybe see it expanded in season 2? Outside of this room?
There will always be an ebb and flow to the overall cast. There will always be characters coming in, there will always be characters going out. It's just the nature of the show. The nature of a show called The Walking Dead.
Can you talk about how the show has influenced, I know you have a couple more comics to write, how the show might influence that, or what you have drawn from the show?
I try to keep the comic book as separate as I can, just because I don't want the comic book to suddenly change just because of the existence of a TV show. And luckily, it is pretty easy to keep things separate, just because the television show is dealing with the storylines that were done at the very beginning of my series, and those are things I was writing in 2003 and 2004. Now that we're on volume 15, issue 88 of the comic book series, the characters have progressed so far. I mean, I've been doing the book for 9 years, so my characters have progressed so far that even when I write scenes with Rick Grimes, he behaves differently and does things that he would never do in the television show, and vice versa. I know when I sat down to write the 4th episode of last season, I had just come into working on the show, and I was sitting in the room with the writers, and we were saying, this happens, and this happens, and I was like, oh, and Rick could do this, and they were like, whoa, what are you doing? And I thought, like, oh my God, yeah, Rick would never, he's not there yet, so it's really very different.
How is that when you have the writers telling you, like, basically, I don't think I agree with you. Yeah.
But it's great. I don't know. It's very dangerous when you have a show that's successful like this and a successful comic. Like I never want to feel like I'm ever dealing with anyone who's not going to be honest with me. Like if I was in a situation where I thought the writers were going to be like, oh well, Robert created this comic, I don't agree with that idea, but I don't feel like I can tell him because he created the comic. Like I would not like that, and that would be bad for everyone involved. And so. Yeah, I mean, the writers' room is great because we'll just sit there and go, well, that was a dumb idea, and that's just how it works. Everyone knows that you're all a team and you're trying to write the best stories possible, and to a certain extent, feelings are not important in any way, shape, or form. And so I pitch dumb ideas, and everyone pitches dumb ideas, and not really dumb ideas, but there's kind of like a rule and an understanding that even if I come up with something that I think is stupid or that I think won't work, but it came to me, like, you say that out loud because someone else might hear that and it will inspire them to come up with something that you actually can work with, and it becomes something really cool. And that's happened a couple of times this season, so it's really a lot of fun.
I just, not to hog it, but I just had a follow-up question about Michael Rooker's character. Big splash when he appeared on the scene last year, then he kind of disappeared. Can we expect to see him come back and the repercussions of being left behind, basically, left for dead, really, in a way?
You can expect nothing, but I would say it would be pretty odd if we never paid that off.
Whoa. Jeffrey, can you talk about how your character deals with grief? There's this survival thing, but there's also grief because there's constantly people dying and burying. And can you talk a little bit about
My feeling about it is that having lost his best friend of all, the dearest person in the world to him, he took grief he burned out that room of grief. There's nothing left, no wallpaper left on the walls. He burned it out. And it was through the process of starting to get involved with these two sisters that little bits of feeling came back. But the grief room is pretty much cleaned out. And along with that, I think any self-pity. And in addition, any great fear. Because I've lost everything. What do you possibly think you can take from me, having lost that? And so it's a new time of his life. Sort of like that.
Jeff, are we going to get any romance for you this season?
I haven't seen it, so I haven't seen it. I've winked at Glenn a couple of times. Nothing. I haven't seen that. It's been. I can't seem to.
No comment works.
Can't have any luck.
Robert, can you talk about some of the sort of the dumb ideas that have come up
No, I
and
can't really say
gone
anything.
away?
I mean, I will say that the thing in season 1, we had no idea what Daryl was, just because it was a character that was added into the show, and I think one of the things that was thrown out was like, yeah, let's would you shoot that guy? That'd be cool. Like that would be pretty crazy, right? And that was the idea where they were like, he's a police officer. He just got into this world. Like he's not right there. So yeah, that was that one. But going into any more specifics would spoil things for the second season.
Can you talk about the new girlfriend?
Yeah, I think we can say that everybody knows the best coming out to play Maggie. She's great. It's going to be really cool. I mean, it gives Glenn a purpose. It gives Glenn some hope. It gives Glenn a reason to live. And I think that's going to be really cool.
Steven, your character is such a fan favorite. Have you gotten any interesting reactions after season 1?
You know what? I don't know what it is. I mean, like, people are very responsive, and, you know, a fan mail that I do happen to get is amazing. But when I'm walking around, I don't really, you know, it might be because I live in LA, but it also might be because, I mean, I'm Asian, so it's like, you don't want to be offensive. You know what I mean? Like, that looks like that guy, but I probably can't. I'm not sure. You know what I mean? But that's true, right? Yeah, right. So you don't want to be like, hey, you're that guy, and you're like, no, I'm not. I just look.
I've never even watched it.
Yeah. I just immigrated here, or something like that. You know what I mean? It's just like, you don't want that to happen. So I think
I see George Takei everywhere.
everywhere, like 4 times a day, right?
Yeah.
It's just. If on that end, I'm sure.
Do you already have an end in mind to the comic book series? How you you already know basically this is where it's all building up to, or are you still just kind of just going with the flow and figure out the very end of it?
I have a roadmap that stretches a year or 2, maybe more. You know, in the comic book series. I know like events, like I know where I want to be at issue 100, I know where I want to be at issue 150. But as far as an ending goes, like I'm having a great time. I feel like I could do this for 500 issues. I think it would be fun to do like a 20-year run on this. And as far as the TV show goes, we're just starting out. We're still trying to figure out the ending is not it's not the cards just yet.
Thank you guys.
Quick photo, gentlemen.
Sure.
Over here.
Thanks a lot, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Versus last one.